And all of a sudden, I'm at the register checking people out, and I get this radiating pain in my abdomen area. So this is my stomach. So the pain was like pulsating. I've never felt this type of pain before. I couldn't even stand, barely can walk. Like, God gives you the strength. Alrighty, you guys. This has been a topic I knew I wanted to make a video about and tell the world my journey, my story, and what happened to me in my life. I will have to say one of the most traumatic experience I've ever had in my life was finding out I had fibroids. And let me tell you why. So in October 2017, my husband and I found out that we were expecting. This was my first pregnancy, and this would be my husband's second child. So I was kind of weary about telling other people other than my husband, because I just thought it was like a custom that you just wait until you're a little farther along. And so I felt comfortable waiting. But the anticipation and the excitement, I wound up telling family. I think I found out I was pregnant probably about 5 weeks. And then I told my family maybe about 8-9 weeks. So yeah, we found out we were pregnant. Let's fast forward to my first ultrasound with the OB. They do all of the preliminary stuff and exam, you know, all that good stuff. So I'm getting the ultrasound done by the tech, and I was slightly concerned. I don't know how long I thought it was going to take her to do it, but she just kept like measuring things on the screen, and that's what I saw. We heard the baby's heartbeat, all that type of stuff. Still not fully aware. I'm just in there with the exam with Alan, my husband. So we go back to the doctor room, and he tells me that I have fibroids. Now, I've heard the term fibroids before from my mother. My mother had them, and my grandmother had them. So it wasn't like that term was abnormal to me. I just didn't understand what it meant for me. So the doctor was like, I think he said, have you heard of fibroids, or do you know what they are? And I said yes, but granted, I just really wasn't fully coherent. Like, I think I'm like in shock still just by the whole process of, I just heard the baby's heartbeat, and that's just where my mind was. I was not fully aware that I had fibroids, and I did not know I had fibroids prior to that ultrasound. So let's go back to when my menstrual cycle first started, because every woman's journey with fibroids will be different. One of the signs that I had fibroids was that my cycles were always super long. So I remember a childhood friend, you know, you just getting your menstrual cycle. We're talking about our body parts. And I was like, hey, how long are you on your cycle? And this was either Shanita or Tracy. I'm not for sure which childhood friend I was talking to. And I think it was Shanita. And she was like, her cycle lasts 3 days. I was like, wow, 3 days? Huh. I'm on my cycle for 8 to 9 days. That is a lot for a 12, 13-year-old child to be dealing with the cycle for that long of heavy bleeding, okay? So my little cousins were children at that time, like babies. They were in diapers. I remember vividly at night having to wear one of their diapers as an oversized pad to go to sleep because my bleeding was just that heavy. So, and I've always had cramps and stuff, just prescribed menstrual cycle medication. I think it might have been like ibuprofen. So I dealt with that middle school, high school, college. That's just what I dealt with. I didn't get on birth control till like my senior or junior year in high school. The birth controls changed my life, y'all. So I went from 8 to 9 day menstrual cycle to now, let's say 3 to 4 days. And I just lived my life like that. I probably was on birth control for so long, I didn't know any other way my body was supposed to respond and act other than being on birth control. So I stayed on them. So let's go back to us being at the ultrasound. I was off my birth control for 6 months before Alan and I got pregnant. And there was a huge difference in how my body was being off the birth control. One, my periods were decent. Nothing to the extent of what they were when I was younger. Not that much pain that I can recall. And the pain and the cramping, it was bearable. I did keep some Idol on deck. Okay, I'm not about to act like everything was just peaches and cream. So, give you a little backdrop. Oh, did I say that my sex urges increased because I was off the birth control? That's how we got pregnant, y'all. I was like in heat. I was like in heat. So it was a severe difference in just how my body responded naturally because I didn't have those birth controls in my system. Let's go back. So now we at the doctor's office, first ultrasound, and the doctor was kind of just talking about the fibroids and all of that type of stuff. I want to say he told me I had probably about 12 fibroids, 12 to 14 fibroids on my uterus. Knowing what I know now, years later, oh my goodness. He did not say that there would be complications because I know Alan asked questions too because he didn't know what was going on, and you know the doctor explained it to him. But I wish I would have done more research, and I wish I would have known before we got pregnant that I had fibroids, because fibroids ruined my life. They really did. And they continue to, even to this day. So October we found out we were pregnant. January hit. I'm at a part-time job. I worked at a retail store, standing and checking out people. This is around the holiday season. It's super packed. And all of a sudden, I'm at the register checking people out, and I get this radiating pain in my abdomen area. So this is my stomach. So the pain was like pulsating. I've never felt this type of pain before, and I'm not that type of person that can just tolerate pain. But if I can go without pain, let's go. This type of pain was highly uncomfortable. Like I was in excruciating pain. I ran to the emergency room. I called my mom. I called my husband. I don't know what's going on, but I'm in pain. I remember the ER doctor told me that since I was pregnant, that this pain was normal. I'm not a medical doctor, but I knew darn well what that woman was trying to tell me was false. I've been around way too many pregnant people in my life. Nobody has said they had excruciating pain. I do not think so many women would have kids if you went through the pain that I was experiencing. So that happened on the weekend. My OB wasn't open until that Monday. So I had to go that whole weekend in pain. Prune juice, we thought I was constipated. It was just so much stuff. Self-medicating methods. My family and I was trying to give me suggestions to help me with the pain. Finally get to the OB that week, and he's like, the fibroids are causing you this pain. And I said, okay, what can you do to make it stop? Because I can't live like this. Not only am I'm in pain, I am uncomfortable, and I have to still go to work, and this is unbearable. I quit my part-time job that exact same day. That weekend, I told him I can't come back. I couldn't even stand, barely can walk. God gives you the strength, because I don't even know how I left the ER and I made it back home. And where I worked at was about an hour away from where we lived. So, the doctor put me on Tylenol 4 with codeine. And I remember he said, I really don't want to do this, but he said, this is all I can give you to decrease the pain. And I'm in pain right now. And he's like, let's try this. Finally got the medicine, and it severely helped, you guys. So I was able to minimize the pain, and I was able to just function. Now, the medicine didn't last 24 hours. I still had some throbbing pain, but this was enough where it was bearable. Okay, Karen, you can't get rid of the pain all the way. You just got to suffer through it. Knowing what we know now by research, Tylenol is something that they don't want pregnant women to take these days. So I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I hear all the time pregnant women say that's the only thing you can take, or they suggest for you to take when you're pregnant. So what have we been putting in our body that is affecting our children? That's in the back of my head. So let me keep telling y'all about how fibroids have ruined my life. So it's been about 4 weeks since I've been taking the Tylenol, right? And every time I go get the ultrasound, the doctor's like, I'm 12 weeks, 10 weeks or whatever, 14 weeks, and he's like, but you look farther along. So as I was getting farther along in the pregnancy, these fibroids was growing as well. So they made my uterus look more enlarged. So I was probably about 12, 13 weeks, and I was walking around like I was 6 months pregnant. Yeah, I just had a belly. So second week in February 2018, Bay and I are laying down. At night, I'm very uncomfortable because I'm laying down flat and laying on my side trying to get comfortable. We have a huge pregnancy pillow that my mom bought, and that helped a little bit. But I just couldn't get comfortable. Again, your body is going through changes. Your breast is doing all types of stuff. It's just a weird time, right? So all of a sudden, we're asleep. It's the middle of the night, and there's just gush. I knew just by watching movies and hearing other delivery stories that my water broke. Okay. That's what happened in the bed. And I get to the bathroom and I wipe myself, and my mucus plug came out as well. So I told Bae, I'm not for sure what's going on, but I think I know what's going on. So we go to the emergency room. They confirm that I'm in the first stages of having a miscarriage. And in the back of my mind, I knew that's what it was. But when it was confirmed by the doctor, I just bawled, you know? It's like you're on trial for murder, you know? And the jury come back and tell you they found you guilty. It's like, it's that shock that the inevitable is occurring, and I have no control over the situation. It definitely was the worst day of my life. Yeah, worst day of my life. And talking about it, it's been a while, but I'm catching myself now kind of tearing up because I am reliving everything and expressing my story to you guys. So I'm gonna keep going. So I was hospitalized instantly due to the miscarriage, and it was a waiting game. Now, I will say this. We live in the state of Mississippi, and the laws when it comes to medical abortions are very strict, and it was a waiting game. We were under the impression that it was going to happen, you know, within 12 hours of the baby not being able to make it. I was there 2 days and eventually I had to go home with the no miscarriage fully. The baby did not come out. They would not do a medical abortion because it's against the law. So I had to wait until the baby detached and fully came out on its own. So it took 2 weeks for the baby to fully come out on its own. In the process of that happening, I had to go to another OB, but at the same clinic every few days. They were checking the baby's heartbeat. The baby was still kicking. The baby was still alive. When I say kicking, like I couldn't feel the baby kick. I wasn't that far along. But the baby was still there. My mom came down, let's just say, to know you are losing your child and it didn't happen right away, it gives you a glimmer of hope, because the second OB that I went to, the first OB was a man, and when everything happened with my water breaking, I had to see another OB, Dr. Garner. She was amazing, and she just explained everything to me. She broke it down. The fibroids cause complications, and due to the size of the fibroids, how many of the fibroids I have on my uterus, they were bigger than my baby, and the baby didn't have enough room to grow. So she explained that all to me. She also gave us a glimmer of hope. She did not mislead us. I appreciate that. She stated that there have been a rare condition where a woman's water has broke, her mucus plug came out, and that liquid, I'm gonna call it liquid because I don't know the term, amniotic fluid, there we go, that it like regenerated and the baby was able to stay in the woman's stomach and continue. that particular woman eventually had a C-section, but the baby was able to stay up there. Now with the amniotic fluid and everything, that's how the baby eats, get its nutrients. That's how it grows. It's like a protected skin. My baby didn't have that, and so it was just, you know, a waiting game. So in the back of my head, she said, I need you, if the baby stay up there until you're 25 weeks, I will pull the baby and it would just be a preemie. Okay, cool. We knew our options, you know. And I remember when she told me that, I was like, this is a lot on me emotionally. I cannot keep coming up to this OB having to hear the baby's heartbeat. Not just my baby heartbeat, but other women's heartbeat, because it's a women's clinic. A whole bunch of pregnant people, okay? And it was just emotionally a lot. I would say that. But the medical abortion, it was offered to go out of state. I told my husband, I said, if our baby is fighting to stay up there and live, we gonna fight, you know? I can't make that choice to make and go with the medical abortion. So even if it was 1 day, 2 days, whatever God was going to give us, I wasn't going to do it. So, yeah, that's what I had to do for 2 weeks. Eventually, the baby did fully miscarry, and I had to deliver the baby at home. Thankfully, I had the support of my aunt, my uncle, my cousins were there. It was a lot we had to go through for those 2 weeks. I had to constantly check my temperature, because if I had a fever, that means I had an infection, and that meant that the baby was coming out with miscarrying. The day that the miscarriage fully completed and the baby passed, I was in labor. I didn't know I was in labor. Now, granted, remember I was telling y'all in January I was having pain due to fibroids, so I'm always been in some type of uncomfortable pain. I just had to deal with it. And let me say this entire pregnancy I had no appetite, none. And that's not like me. I'm a foodie. I enjoy food, and I had no appetite. I had to force myself to eat, to take the Tylenol 4s and all of the other, you know, just daily medicines that I had to take. Whew. So, the day that we miscarried, my mom came to visit. She had to go back that day, so we had to drive her back to the airport. And I was just saying, man, I'm so uncomfortable. My back is killing me. Again, I'm just thinking it's just the pain from the fibroids. I popped one of them Tylenol 4s. I couldn't get comfortable. We put a pillow underneath my back, driving. And I remember my mom, she hugged me real tight, you know. She didn't want to leave. She wanted to be with her, you know, with her child. I'm her only child, and I'm going through a very rough time, you know. So I hugged my mom, and I'm like, hey, don't cry. But I knew she bawled, and she told me she did once she got home. But I just kept going through that pain for about 12 hours, and eventually the baby did come out. I did not see the baby. I just couldn't go through that. I was bawling, all of that, because this is, you know, what we thought might be an option of making it, the baby making it until we are 25 weeks. The baby's coming out, and it's not gonna make it. So I'm just wasn't able to fully look at the baby. But my cousin Shantae did. Nobody else was able to look at the baby. They couldn't help pull the baby out, but Shantae came through. And she was able to pull the baby out. And she said she checked the baby because one of the doctors at the first time I went to the ER told us that the baby's gonna look like a seahorse. No lie, y'all. And she told us that the baby had a head, a big head, and it had 10 fingers and 10 toes. So the baby was forming and developing fine. So that's good to hear, you know. And the healthcare system in the state of Mississippi is trash. There's no other way to say it other than that it's trash. I don't know about any other state. I can just speak on the state that I live in. The whole situation, just the emotional trauma I dealt with, the physical trauma, the healing after the miscarriage, all of this could have been prevented if the state of Mississippi will have some type of law saying if it's, you know, harm to the baby or the mother, that you can have a medical abortion. But again, even if the state of Mississippi had that law, I wouldn't do it because I was still holding on to some hope, you know, and that hope got me through. So after the miscarriage, I had to go back to the OB and they, you know, feel on my stomach and make sure that I'm healing correctly. And I had an infection a few days after the miscarriage, so I had to be hospitalized again. And I never forget, it was a nurse. She was like a student nurse, and she was doing some assignment while she was on the floor. She wanted to talk about my miscarriage and, you know, while I was in the hospital. Baby, no. We're not talking, not about this particular topic. I found another nurse. I said, can she not come back in my room? I do not want to talk about why I'm in here. The documentation is in my file. Allow me to have all the medicine and this IV I'm on so I can get out of here and start the healing process. You know what I mean? After the miscarriage and me being hospitalized, I had so many pap smears and, you know, my vagina worked fine. Nothing was wrong there. The problem was the fibroids. So 6 weeks after the miscarriage, the doctor said, I will advise you not to get pregnant again with the fibroids. I said, okay. So what do we have to do to get rid of these fibroids? She offered a myomectomy. Cool. How much is it? They told me the price with insurance. It's like, my goodness, this is expensive. Talked to Alan, and he said, I'm against it. I do not want you to be cut on. And I was like, man, yeah, they all about to cut on me. But at that time, when I was looking up ways to have the fibroids removed, I wanted my baby. You know, I'm grieving, and I think, you know, when you're grieving, you're fully not there coherently. You're just going through the motions, you know. And I definitely was dealing with some postpartum and some depression, and she suggested that I don't get pregnant again. I was like, baby, you don't gotta worry about me. Told the husband, put that sausage away, okay? Me and him, we aren't on the same page right now. I just needed some time. So, you know, I had an opportunity to heal physically, emotionally, and the doctor suggested I get back on birth control. Baby, hand them to me. Hand them to me. Because I wasn't ready to figure out what I need to do to get rid of the fibroids. I just knew what the OB was offering was just not an option. So life after the miscarriage. With the hormones and everything, it affected my diabetes. I'm not fully diabetic, but I am pre-diabetic. And so it took about a year for my hormones to get stable. Just my body. Might not be anybody else's. And with my glucose levels being very unstable, I had constant yeast infections for about a year. It took me a year to figure out that it was my glucose levels being high and low, and I had to change my eating habits. Fibroids were still there. I was back on birth control now, but they were there. And so I feel that after the pregnancy and the miscarriage, they stayed the size that they were when I miscarried. They didn't shrink back down. And so sex was definitely uncomfortable. Certain exercises was uncomfortable now. Because these fibroids, and you can feel them. They're like the size of some grapefruit. I won't say all of them, but at least 2 of them in the front that I can feel. Back on birth control, 6 weeks, healing, getting my body under control, connecting with my husband, thanking my family for their kindness and just being there. I needed to heal spiritually, emotionally, physically. I needed to heal and truly cope with everything. About a week after everything happened, I was back at work. And being at work helped me. I'm a social worker. I provide therapy to children in a school setting, and my clients are very therapeutic for me to help other kids and other people go through life and what they're dealing with. My job helped me to get my mind off of it and to do something that I'm really good at, which is being a social worker. And so it helped. It helped my healing. It really did. So it's been 4 years since that pregnancy. And I'm at a better place. I can talk about everything, and it's definitely a bonding moment with other females. I've met a lot of women who have been dealing with fibroids that even had the myomectomy. They have children with fibroids. It is a tribe of us out here, okay? I am working on getting the fibroids removed. I will be having a fibroid immobilization procedure soon, and I plan on documenting that entire procedure and sharing my journey and everything that I went through was a test. But I came out of the storm and I made it through, and I have my testimony today. And I'm happy to share my story because it's a lot of women that have dealt with this, that are dealing with it. And I want to create that support on my channel. I want support of no judgment, feeling like you've been understood and heard, and understanding that our journey might be similar, but they're not the same. And that's okay. So I'm telling my story because if I can help one person feel okay about talking about what they have went through or are going through, or a loved one or a friend going through, let's build that community of survivors. Let's do it, let's share our journey, and let's build a community. I would love to build a tribe, okay? So yes, like I was saying, I will be having the fibroids immobilization procedure really soon. So you will see that video on this channel soon. I'm just gonna make sure I have the procedure done and document everything, and it's probably gonna be more than one video depending on, you know, the length and everything. Whew. This felt good, y'all. This was very needed, and I knew I needed to do this. I just didn't know when. So I actually was talking to my mom before I turned the camera on, and I said, Mom, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the video and talk about fibroids and my story. And she said, it's time, because you are about to get rid of those fibroids. And I was like, yeah, I am. So again, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for listening. If you know anyone that is going through fibroids issues, any type of fertility issues, let's build a tribe, a support system. Feel comfortable and free to tell me your story in the comment section down below. Let's engage, let's talk. It feels so good to talk to women that's going through similar situations and that they can understand. And I'm grateful for all the women that I have met along the way that have dealt with losing a child, a miscarriage, fibroids, myomectomies, POS. It's just so much I've learned about different type of infertility issues that women deal with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely will be making some more videos in regards to fertility and my journey to motherhood. So if you are interested in seeing my journey, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up. And you can subscribe to this channel by hitting that subscribe button and that bell notification so you don't miss any of my uploads. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to y'all real soon. Bye.